Like, what I want to know what you would choose to go, where you would choose to go. And it has nothing to do with the menu and how much it costs to be there. I want to know what type of environment you're going to put me in. And the reason why I say that, because this really happened to me, y'all. Met this guy. He was cool. And he chose this place that I wasn't even comfortable getting out of the car. And I thought, why would you bring me here? And he asked me, well, why did you ask me? Like, he didn't understand why I was asking that question. And I kid you not, on the way to the car, he was like, give me a second. He goes into the car and pulls out a gun. And I thought, are you
Uh,
serious right now? This is why I asked you that. Like, why would you even bring me here?
okay.
You know?
Protection.
To be fair, you're in Atlanta. They need that gun anywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
but this
No. Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. Today we are with the Lapeef Experience. What's the purpose of the first date? Let's jump in and see what we got.
date is for. I know we know it's for conversation, but when a woman wants to be taken to a nice restaurant, I think that's to get to know your style.
First off, first date is not for conversation. Because again, personal opinion, dating is dumb. And this is one thing that, in my opinion, proves it. The way I operated before I was married was is that I want to get to know you before I take you on a date. Main reason is because I got a reputation to hold, and I don't need you screwing it up. So yeah, I'm gonna get to know you before we go out in public. That's just me. And yeah, there was a lot of women who did not make the cut to getting to the first date. Yeah, but this speaks to what she's saying is that, well, the first date is so we can talk and everything. We can talk on the phone. Matter of fact, I think not enough of us are doing that before we start hanging out with people, and definitely before we start having sex. So let's keep going.
Style, right? Would that be in agree? Would you guys agree with that? To know,
I would say too, I don't know if it's that, but I would almost say that to me, I would feel like to go to that extent right there already, you already want me to treat you like you my wife already.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? Like that type of thing like that. That's for somebody that's gonna be like my wife or your. We already moved past a few stages for me to be taking you and doing something to that extent. Um, but no, again, I think the issue that we have here is that people forget why they're going on the date versus where they're going on the date. Why are you going on this? Are you going on this date so you can have the experience of being wine and dine at a high level in restaurant? Because if that's the case, that's all you're going for is to get that high end level restaurant
For
experience.
sure.
Versus you going there actually trying to literally get to know who this person is that is taking you out. You know what I mean? So
You
they
know,
need to differentiate between those two. Because if that's the case, anybody can do that to you. You know what I mean? Like he where he take you? Oh, he took me to such. He took you to that little what he spent $30. See, now we talking about a dollar amount. What was the purpose of y'all even going out there? Period. Because if that's
Ooh,
the case, then money is not nothing to be talking about. Who cares how much your food costs?
let me say, I kind of wanted to
that now that's a great point, and this is how you can do. This is another reason why I say that dating is dumb because I reserve for me the woman is going to have to earn the right for me to take her places. The more expensive places, yeah, you're gonna have to. I'm not going anywhere expensive outside of it, and we're not in a committed relationship. I'm just not going. No, I'm not doing that because what's the benefit for me? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But at the same time, it's like, nah, I don't know you like that. So you call me cheap or a brokey or whatever. I didn't really care to begin with, like what her opinion was on my finances. Mostly because I had, back when I was single, my net worth was higher than the average. Let me think. Was it higher than the average person? Mm, nah. Well, yes, it was because yeah, because I had assets and stuff. But I didn't care about that because I knew I was doing better than most people, and I didn't need to impress anybody. If I had to impress you with the kind of car and all that other stuff, I usually stayed away from women like that. But again, I'm going to get to know I would get to know them over the phone. So before I would ask them out in public, because then I could get to know what kind of character you have. You know, And most women will be forthcoming with more information just if we're just getting to know each other versus I got to take you somewhere expensive or any or on a date period, because we're not exclusive at that point. I may not even have made my intentions known at that point. We're just literally just getting to know each other. And if I see somebody, this is something that is worth pursuing, then I'm gonna ask you on a date. And if you say no, cool. I'm just gonna. I know that that door may be closed for the near future, and I possibly will cut off. I will reduce the amount of communication between us, and because I'm gonna be moving on to somebody else. So let's keep going.
Put a website together about nice places with nice, like the ambiance is nice, but they're not expensive, but it gives you like a feeling of, expense, so to speak. I think, and the reason why I say that is for me, I like to find a guy. I like to see what his taste is. Like, what I want to know what you would choose to go. Where you would choose to go, and it has nothing to do with the menu and how much it costs to be there. I want to know what type of environment you're gonna put me in. And the reason why I say that, because this really happened to me, y'all. Met this guy. He was cool, and he chose this place that I wasn't even comfortable getting out of the car. And I thought, why would you bring me here? And he asked me, well, why did you ask me? Like, he didn't understand why I was asking that question. And I kid you not, on the way to the car, he was like, give me a second. He goes into the car and pulls out a gun. And I thought, are you serious right now? This is why I asked you that. Like, why would you even bring me here?
Protection.
To be fair, you're in Atlanta. They need that gun anywhere.
Yes,
Right.
but this,
No, no, you don't. Because no, but that tells you what type of guy he is. Now, I actually agree with her in the sense that I'm not going to ask you on a date to a place that I don't frequent, and there are a number of reasons why. Because again, I'm going to go somewhere where people know who I am, and I may be getting preferential treatment. It actually shows it actually helps perpetuate. How do you say this? It gives more understanding of the type of status that you have, or it's a great way to display status. Is that, yeah, I'm well known here. We can walk up and I can say hey to the manager. We can conversate for just a couple seconds. So yeah, but for the most part, that whole he got to get a gun to get out there, bro. Why are you hanging out in places like that where you feel your life is in danger? Why would you bring somebody else there? Somebody else there that you may have to protect? That's crazy to me. That's
you are at,
I mean, Chicago, we do the same thing.
I agree with you, but I didn't feel comfortable even getting out of the car. I knew that this was not an area in which we should be in. I would never be in. And so, to me, for you to bring me here, I'm okay with the menu, like, because more than likely I'm just gonna get vegetables anyway. I never order entree. I always get veggies, like Brussels sprouts, asparagus. That's my thing. But I just want to know your style, like how you move, like something about you. So if you take a situation like this young man, and that's not really your style, you're kind of perpetrating, or you're trying to, like, I'm not really getting to know you. My whole point is to get to know you. Like, what would you choose? If you choose a coffee shop and it's a nice coffee shop, I'm okay with that because it's your style. Like, maybe you like to drink coffee and talk. Me too. So
See, but what if it's not that it's not what if it's too many questions in there, because then this comes down to like this. What if I'm taking you there, not that it's my style, but I'm only doing it because I'm trying to impress you, even though this.
Then that's not going to work. That's going to ultimately fail because you're trying to portray a lifestyle that you can't maintain. This is why I always say that, for me, it was okay. Hey, I'm going to this place. Would you like to go? If they say no, cool. I'm moving on. Then I've gathered even more information about this person, and the chances are they're probably not going to match my speed. So I'm not going to put much more effort into making a connection with that person. Again, but this is again the benefit of we're having phone conversations before we got to know each other over the phone, because then I can see, our lifestyles don't match up that much, which means that, outside of sex, there's not much here. I'm gonna move on to somebody else. Because again, I'm looking for somebody who's going to be an asset and helping me build, or fulfill my help me out with moving in my purpose. But if we're not hanging out at the same places, or it's the same thing with bringing you around my friends. It's like, wait a minute, I don't need you misrepresenting me. Because again, I have a reputation that I'm trying to maintain, and I don't need you screwing it up. Yeah. I think I've said that enough times for you guys to get the point. Let's keep going.
This is really not me.
That's when it becomes a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
That's when it becomes a problem, because that's not you. You're setting this false set, like,
Right.
This is
But-
you, and it's
So-
not you.
And yet you can feel
So
that if
here-
I do that, you're saying, oh, well, he has really good taste. No, I actually don't. I'm only doing it because I'm trying to impress you. So then it's like,
So
Right.
I hear what you're saying, Shan, but here's the thing. I think everybody on the panel's over the age of 30. I think our generation is a little bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we understand that, right? You're feeling each other out on that first date. Whereas with like a lot of these younger kids, or the men who are dating women who are under the age of 30, they don't move like that. Right? Like their reality is very different. If you are not spending that 150, like that's it. You're not getting the box, you're not getting a second date, you're not getting any real interaction on that date. Like you're getting like the cold shoulder, right? So I think there's like very different level of perception that they have.
But is
Where
that the
men-
one that you want?
this-
That would be would that not be a red flag early on? Like I dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
So I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right. And here's why. I think that there's two sets of goals. Men who are in that age category dating women in that age category, they're looking for somebody. Men who are older dating women in that age category, it's more so about like the not just that.
Back in the cheeks.
Yeah. So that's part of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because 3 days is really not a lot. But I think the other part of it is that like they have something to prove, right? Their level of being vetted may not necessarily be the same as somebody who's closer to their age as these younger girls. So if I can blindside you with all of these extravagant things, then maybe you'll overlook the things that women who are a little more experienced are able to vet out.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it
There's also the fact that so one of the reasons why men like to lead in the relationship is because we take pride in providing new experiences to the woman we're with. It's one of the reasons why men prefer women who don't have a lot of sexual experience, because it means that, okay, well, I can be the man that's going to provide these new experiences for you. Again, tapping into that provider role. At some point, we got to have a conversation about being a provider. It's not about money. Because we're going to get off topic here, but everybody likes to talk about this stuff, protect and provide, but as if it came from the Bible. Y'all do know that most of the people in the Bible were like working class poor, if not less, right? So it's not like it was... I mean, these guys, they're not providing money. Most of the cases, they're still providing things or providing a lifestyle. Now, to get back on topic, this is one of the reasons why men tend to date younger women, and vice versa, because women value experience. How far down the list you want to go with that is totally up to the each individual. Now, are there guys out there that will take advantage of the fact and, doing like Inaz said, they want to date younger women because they don't have as high as expectations and everything else. And, the guys are just down trying to have sex with them. Absolutely. It's not, in every type of man, there are those who are just looking to have sex. And those men usually get regulated to a certain type of woman. You might call them 304s or whatever, but usually that's where that ends up going. So this is why we got to start saying, this is why I say that number one, we need to get to know each other over the phone first before we start hanging out in public, because now that man has to invest some serious time into, and you get to invest some time. He's got to invest some time into you too, because now you can figure out what type of man he is, right? Before you go on that first date. But yeah, let's keep going.
Depends on the demographic of who's dating those women. I don't think a lot of men see it. And I think the other thing, last thing, men are really competitive, right? If she is really that attractive girl, if she really has a decent personality, she doesn't even have to have like the best personality. If she has a decent personality, she's an 8, 9, 10, men are going to compete. And in order to compete, you gotta put your wallet up in comparison to other men, right? So I think it's easier to judge men on you should know better when it comes to that. You should be dodging these bullets, but really, men have been complaining about the quality of women that exist and still have to compete to figure out who is a quality woman.
Yep, more reason to
So,
get to know him over the phone.
if y'all don't mind, first point I just want to tell the guys: if you're going to put yourself in a bind for a date, don't go on that date. That's the number one thing.
Yeah,
If it is
100%.
going to cost you more than you have, and I don't want to use the word to spare, but that you have allotted for that time, don't do it. Number two, home dude in the video is kind of right, because the date, especially the first date, is to really to get to know someone. That's what it's meant to do. You're not going to really get that over a movie, and you're not going to get that over a fine dining experience. You get that over a walk. You get that over a cup of coffee. That's where you get those the a more intimate setting, but laid back, to where you can actually have real conversation and real dialogue with a woman to figure out where her head is at. If your goal is to smash a chick, you don't have to take her to the most expensive spot. As a matter of fact, where you met her, use your words. I don't recommend smashing,
Well,
going
we're
out
not
with
going to
that
talk
goal,
about smashing. We're not
but
going to even
I
get in
mean,
that
but
here.
think about the guy in the video. At the very beginning of the video, I spent $150. She ghosted me. Now I'm feeling some kind of way. There was in his mind at some point he thought he was gonna get them yum yums, and he didn't get them
Or
yum
maybe
yums.
just to get to know her.
No, you don't spend 100. I guess you could, but I personally could go on a $150 date and not be hurt, right? But why would I do that when the goal would be to know, should be to get to know the person? We're going out here in this dating market, and we're sending young men out here in this dating market with the wrong mindset. Somebody has to explain to these kids that your goal should be to get to know them. And that's where the guy is right.
Yeah.
It is a time investment to learn about someone.
Real
Question.
fast, Nas, because I
And
have a question
then
for
you
you.
don't get to then you
Yeah.
don't get to 10 dates to where you're kicking somebody out the car, because you've learned who they are. And that goes all the way back to that first video. But
10 dates. Oh my God. No. I'm definitely not doing that. 10, no. No, I'm not God. Oh my, I don't have nothing to say about it. Don't do that. Just don't. That is, if you hadn't figured out, like, by the third date, there should be some kind of reciprocation. I'm not paying for more than 3 dates, and I don't know. I'm still, it's still up in the air how you feel about me. We just ain't gonna go nowhere else. I'm gonna assume that, yeah, this probably ain't working out. I'm not well. No, he wouldn't even take 3 dates. I'd probably be doing that in between the first and second date, because, like I said, if you're getting to know them over the phone, you can pick up if there's chemistry or not. Especially by the time we get on that first date. By the end of the first date, if I can't tell, if I'm feeling like the friend zone, oh yeah, this is, then I don't need to hang out with you anymore. And we can just, and I can move. I can gradually move our phone conversations to less and less, because you're not interested. So I'm just going to go find somebody else. So, yeah, 10. Good God, man. You got some serious bread to be doing all that. Mm-mm.
Instead, you got these people going in with these one-track minds, trying to get some 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 of them yams, and they're coming up empty. That's 2 videos in one night where the dudes are coming up empty. Don't spend that money if you don't have it. And if and if your goal shouldn't be to smash it, it should be to get to know them.
Yeah, I agree. Just because I'm not trying, I don't want to have, I'm not looking to have sex with you within like the first 2 dates. Mainly because if something happens, I don't want any ties to you. I mean, I may not like, again, I don't like who you are, or by the second date, I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. But then there's always the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? There's always that chance that if we've had sex, well, if the condom broke, now I gotta expect. It's a whole nother problem 9 months from now, and I don't even like you. So no, I'm not doing that. It's nah from the get go. But you know what? I forgot to preface something. For those of y'all that don't know, I am pro marriage, and I was as from the vast majority of my adult life before I got married, I was marriage minded. That's another reason why I don't believe in going on dates with women that I barely know. Because if for a long, like I was looking for a wife, and I always vetted potential women as being a wife. Could I see myself being married to this person? And I'm not going on multiple dates if I don't see you as a potential wife. I'm just not gonna waste my time. I got too much to lose um, by hanging out with you, because that's just not. There's not enough resources. There's not enough time for me to devote to that, because you're gonna have to go through. I understood that what I'm looking for is special, and yeah, it's going to take some time, and I'm gonna have to go through a lot of women. So that was just my take on it. But I find it interesting that we're talking. Well, they gave some ideas about the accountability partner gave some ideas about possible first dates. The one that I do disagree with is something that I used to use for a first date is a movie. But I understand if you're talking about going to a movie theater, yeah, I wouldn't do that, because you're just sitting there watching a movie. My suggestion is do a Netflix date, except don't invite them over. You guys watch the same movie while on FaceTime. Preferably an older movie that it's either a classic movie that you both have seen, or a really bad movie. Because now we can talk and it's not going to matter, because we didn't seen this like 1,000 times. Case in point, we're going to watch Coming to America. Most people have seen that movie, right? Still comedy, but if we haven't seen it together, then that means it's a shared experience. But also because we've seen this movie a couple of times, it's not that bad. It's not like we're missing something if we're talking during the movie. The reason why I say a bad movie is because, again, you can talk about how bad the movie is and how ridiculous it is. You know, something simple like that, and it's literally just we're watching this together, and not necessarily we're in the same space. But it's an idea if you don't want if you want to do something else besides just talk on the phone. It's another way of communicating. But again, we don't have to go anywhere. We can do a shared experience, and it's literally lasts as long as the movie. The other good thing is that once the movie's over, if the conversation is good, then we can keep it going. Versus, if you're going out to a movie and once the movie's over, you gotta there's a good chance that you're gonna have to leave the theater, and then it's like, you gotta find something else to do. Whereas, we're watching Netflix. You know what? That movie was pretty bad. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Or you know what? Let's keep this thing going. What else you want to watch? So it gives you more options, and more options means you have more opportunities to get to know the person for potential red flags. But guys, I think this is a video that we have been needing to watch, or a topic that we've been needing to cover for a while. Because again, I'm not anybody special. I'm not a high value man, despite what most of these male content creators talk about in the YouTube space. It seems like everybody's a high value man, although the numbers don't say that. I'm just an average guy. I'm a husband. I'm a father. So, and I'm pro marriage. So that's just my take on it. But hey, you guys can disagree with me in the comments. It's not like y'all hadn't been doing that already, right? I'm gonna say goes to the next time. Peace.